Where did they? There we go. Okay. Back to share. And then yeah, awesome. We got it remuted. Awesome. You guys are awesome. So share. Nope, not back to there. Let's go back there. So day 1. Okay, how do I stress less during the holidays? Because we've all heard it. Here's what you should do for your health. You should stress less. Great, but now I'm stressed about not being stressed. I'm sure you guys have felt that way as well. And you're like, oh yeah, yeah, sure, no problem. I'll just manage the stress. Don't worry. I won't wrap any presents. I won't buy any presents. I won't decorate the house. I won't go to any holiday parties. I won't feel any pressure from family. I won't cook all the meals. I won't do all the things. Sure, no problem. Oh, and then if you've got kids and a family and other relationships, they all need to do their things and the spouses work parties and all of that. Yeah, sure. Easier said than done. So everything takes a back burner to stress. So again, this is what I do in functional medicine labs. We see this through a hair tissue mineral analysis. We can see this through a stress, mood, and metabolism lab. We can see this through an organic acids test, as well as an IgG food sensitivities test and an omega-3 inflammation lab. So we can see that everything takes a back burner to stress. And where I really like to start people is working with those minerals through a hair tissue mineral analysis. So that's going to show us how stressed your body is and how that stress is affecting your body. So minerals and electrolytes, they're like our spark plugs to life. So what they're doing is they are actually buffering the external stress. So if I've got minerals and I've got enough in my body, then when that external stress comes, I have a buffer for it. But if I have internal stress going on in my body, such as inflammation, such as, and it also causes inflammation, but such as a heavy metal toxicity or mold or candida bacterial yeast overgrowth, that's going to cause even more internal stress. So then my body's not able to deal with that external stress because it further burns out those minerals. So that's why it's so important to look at your lab specifically. My job as an integrative health practitioner is to eliminate toxicities, replace deficiencies to get your body back to a state of equilibrium where it can heal itself, as well as avoiding your specific sensitivities. That's all a tongue twister, but that's what I do, and that's what I love to see. So, but okay, let's take the internal piece and let's put that to the side. How do we manage stress externally? If all of this is going on in our bodies, the heavy metal toxicity, the candida bacterial yeast overgrowth, the mold, whatever it may be, what can I do to manage stress externally? So let's talk about this a little bit more. So what we want to do to make it a healthier and happier holiday season is know exactly what's going on in your brain. I work through the de-stressed protocol. So D diet, E exercise. You probably saw this on in some emails. E exercise, S stress reduction, T toxin removal, R rest, E emotional balance. The last S, supplementation. And then the real last S is success mindset and spirituality. Then E, education, and D, delivery. And the reason that I do that is if I know why and I know what's going on with my body, then I know that it's not just some like random force coming and hitting me. No, my body is lined up with so many checks and balances. And what this looks like is the gut-brain axis. So neurons are cells that are found in your brain and central nervous system that tell your body how to behave. There's approximately 100 billion neurons in the human brain. So your gut contains 500 million neurons, which are connected to your brain and nerves in your nervous system. The vagus nerve is one of the biggest nerves that connects your gut and your brain, and it sends signals in both directions. So what affects the brain affects the gut, and what affects the gut, you guys can't see me pointing to my gut, but that's okay, you get it. What affects the gut affects the brain. So neurotransmitters is how these are the chemicals that connect all of this, and neurotransmitters are produced in the brain and they control feelings and emotions. So over 90% of serotonin, which is our happy, feel-good neurotransmitter, that's produced in our gut. We can actually see this through an organic acids lab and see those levels and all of the biochemical reactions going on. And that's just a simple at-home urine test. And I've seen mine and it's pretty cool. And then GABA, which helps control fear, which helps control feelings of fear and anxiety, is also produced in the gut. So again, what affects my brain affects my gut, and what affects my gut affects my brain. So If my body's in a stressed out state, again, everything takes a back burner to stress. So again, God designed our bodies amazing. And if I'm getting chased at by a bear, then everything's going to take a back burner to stress because my body's going to go in fight or flight in order for me to survive. But here, most of us aren't getting chased by a bear normally. Some of you may. Sometimes I'm the bear that's chasing people, depending on my mood. In past tense, not as much now, but I've worked on controlling that and figured out my underlying toxicities and deficiencies. But when we're being chased out by a bear, everything's going to take a back burner. So our digestion takes a back burner. If my digestion, as well as our immune system and our sleep, if I can't rest, I can't recover, as well as our hormones. So I'll go into that. But if our we're getting chased out by a bear, we don't want to be like, hey, Mr. Bear, hang on 1 second. I'm going to need a snack break. No, our immune or our digestion downregulates. So we might not realize that we're hungry. If we're not hungry, we're probably not eating all of these nutrients. But let's say that I am eating these nutrients, but again, my body's stuck in that chronic fight or flight. Then what's going to happen is it's not going to be like, hang on, Mr. Bear, I'm going to need to take a potty break. It doesn't work like that. Do I wish it did? Yes, absolutely. Unfortunately, it doesn't. Your peristaltic movement, your digestion takes a back burner. And when that digestion takes a back burner, there's food that ferments in your gut because it's not getting digested. And then all of those toxins that your body would normally get rid of, they just reabsorb, which is causing even more of a toxic overload in your body. So that nutrient delivery is downregulated, the microbial balance is downregulated, the gut mobility is downregulated. And then things that we need for biochemical reactions extracted from the healthy foods that we're eating, we're not getting those, which then leads to our neurotransmitters, which then throws off our anxiety. And then it affects our mood that then gives us more stress. So it just goes around and around and around and around. So that's why they say, yes, manage stress. So let's talk a little bit more how to do that. And that's our real main goal for this week. So have a plan. If you don't plan, you plan to fail. So, for me personally, I like to set myself up for success. My plan for the holidays, as well as my clients, is maintain, don't gain. Let's not add any more stress to the already stressed out life that you may lead, but also going into the most stressful season of the year, the holidays. So instead of, okay, let's lose 20 pounds before New Year's. Is it a great goal? Yes. Is it doable? Yes, absolutely. But life's too short not to enjoy. So for me, I think it's very important to, again, dealing with a lot of loss in my life. I lost my dad in his early 50s to cancer. I lost yeah, a child to infertility. I lost a brother that was a baby. So I think that and for me personally, I've seen how important life is and how important relationships are. And I've been the one that's gone to weddings with a gallon jug of water and prepared food or just didn't eat it all because I couldn't eat it because it wasn't on my meal plan or whatever it may be. But I was so stressed about maintaining that image and maintaining those certain specifics that it stressed me out even more. Again, that's why I gained 30 pounds in less than 3 months doing all of the right stuff. It was stress. So maintain, don't gain this holiday season. The average person gains 10 pounds from Halloween to New Year's. We don't want that to be you. Our goal is just maintain, don't gain. So that way we start 2025 exactly where we are now. We're not taking 8 steps backwards in order to get to the starting line in order to start off 2025. So I truly believe that, and I've seen and research shows that when you are practicing gratitude, it's the antidote to stress. So, in order to be grateful, you can't be in a stressed out state because they conflict and they counterbalance. So, one way to pull yourself out of that chronic stressed fight or flight mindset is to practice gratitude. And I like to do this right before I go to bed. I try and think of 5 things that I'm grateful for every single day for that day specifically. Yeah, sometimes I'll go for the bigger things like a roof over my head if I can't find anything, but I try and find 5 things that I'm grateful for every single day. Maybe it's a parking place up front. Maybe it's a coupon that I got for a Black Friday sale. Maybe it's a cup of coffee with a friend, whatever it may be. So, what I would love for our action step for today is just to write down 5 things that you're grateful for in our Facebook group. And I think the link is hooked up. I'm not 100% sure. But if you just search Holistic Health, Wellness, and Weight Loss group on Facebook, that's us. Come on in. We'd love to have you. And that's where we'll be doing our action steps. What I want to do, if it's okay with you guys, is I want to go ahead and step into that coaching role. I want to go ahead and be your coach for the next 5 days. I want to set you up for success for 2025. I want to celebrate your wins with you. I want to hold you accountable. So I'm going to go ahead and put on my coaching hat and ask you guys for your action step for the day, just to write 5 things that you're grateful for in the Facebook group. They can be big things like a roof over your head or fingers to type on the keyboard, or they can be little things like sharing a cup of coffee with a friend. So I'm going to stop my share. And yeah, that's really all I've got for the day. I don't want to take up a bunch of anyone's time, but I'm here to answer questions. And if you guys want to, and you want to go ahead and do your action steps, you can't find the Facebook group. Okay. I thought it linked up, but there's no telling. So let me go ahead and put it in the chat. It's www.facebook.com/groups, and I'm putting it in the chat /holistic. Ew. Oh, I think I can talk and type, but I can't. Wellness and weight loss. Yep, there you go. Right there. That should take you right to it. It should also be in your emails, but there's the group. So come on in. Feel free to introduce yourself, pop up a live video, um, or a picture or whatever, but we'd love to meet you, love to see you. I've got a ton of free resources in that group. I've got workouts, I've got recipes. There's over 100 recipes. I've got a lot of great stuff for you guys. And you can also, since you guys are live with me on Zoom, I know I've got some people from where I'm streaming in over to Facebook. I'd love for you guys on Facebook to go ahead and do it in the group if you can, so everybody can see it. We can encourage and support each other. But if you guys that are live here on Zoom, and if you aren't joining us live on Zoom, there should be a link in the Facebook group as well as my Facebook page to join us live on Zoom. So feel free to do that there. But if you ladies that are live with us in Zoom want to go ahead and drop your 5 grateful things in right now, I would love to see it as I queue us up for our giveaway today. So let me grab it right here. And here is what we are giving away today. I've got giveaways every single day here for us that are registered. So you've got to be registered in order to qualify for the giveaways. So our giveaway for, you need to be admitted to the group. Let me get you in really quick because I think I'm still live in there. I will accept you as soon as I stop this. I'm going to go ahead and stop our where am I? I'm going to stop our share because we are live here on Zoom. So let me stop, and that's going to end the whole thing. Or live stream, stop live stream. Okay, awesome. So I'm going to stop our live stream. That's stopped. Let me get you in there really quick, Nancy. And if you guys have any questions, live Facebook live group. If you guys have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat or raise your virtual hand, or it's a smaller group of us here. Feel free just to unmute. Member requests. Awesome. So let me get you in really quick. And Nancy, I will send you your cookbook. I'm gonna take a picture of these because if I don't take a picture of these, Facebook automatically deletes them. So Nancy and Annie, you guys are both approved. Yes, and I will send you your cookbooks. I've got your emails. So awesome. Yes, these sessions are going to be less than an hour. So I'm trying to get my trainings in under 30 minutes, and then the last 30 minutes are for Q&A. So live giveaway today for the Amazon #1 bestseller, Holistic Health Clean Eating Cookbook. I would love to know, let's see here. What is your Let's see. What is your healthy, your, I should really think about these ahead of time. What is your favorite holiday tradition? So first person to type it in the chat gets the clean, holistic health, clean eating cookbook. And I also have a clean copycat cookbook that everybody gets. So you guys will get that. So if you guys want to type it in the chat, Andy says being with family. Awesome, Andy. Well, I will send you over my Amazon #1 bestseller. I'll connect with you and get that to you, and everybody over there in the Facebook group will get my smaller cookbook. So thank you guys so much for joining me. That's just our quick action step for the day is posting over in the Facebook group. Does anybody have any questions before we pop off? Anything I can help with health or anything like that? And feel free just to unmute if it's easier than typing. We're not streaming anymore. Sorry, what was the question? Or do you have any questions? Was my only question, Nancy. Feel free to unmute.
Yeah, I was wondering about lowering my A1C. I've been working on that, and it's 6.1 right now, and it's been steadily going up over the last couple of years, even though I eat super healthy. But I have since cut out carbs. Now, I haven't cut them out completely, but I mean carbs such as bread and pasta, which are two of my favorite things to eat, and I know they spike my blood sugar. I eat very little sugar, if any, as far as like sweets and stuff like that. So uh, I recently found out from an MRI of my brain that I had had a stroke, a mini stroke, and it came as really a shock to me because I didn't know that I had had a mini stroke. And they said now my I'm at risk for another stroke. So my understanding as a nurse and as a nutrition guru is that cholesterol isn't really the culprit with heart and stroke. It's more inflammation and sugar. And I'm well aware of that. I've been studying nutrition for many years. So I eat a lot of veggies and my green smoothies in the morning and organic stuff. I exercise, not a lot, but I walk a mile a day. Um, so, any other tips that you have on lowering my A1C? I'm also taking, well, my cholesterol is also high, but I'm not as concerned about that because my HDL is really good. My LDL is high, and my triglycerides are really good. So overall, the big picture is that my risk is very low for any kind of a cardiac event or another stroke. So I'm not as concerned about that, although I would like to get my LDL down a bit because it is just really high. I've also cut out or cut back on cheeses such as brie, the really high fat cheeses. I still eat goat and feta and mozzarella and parmesan, the lower fat ones. So, any other suggestions?
Let me just say, first of all, you are doing so much right. That would be just my like general advice of all of the things that you're already doing. So huge kudos to you there. And I say that with a caveat. I know for me, dealing with health issues, I was upset about the health issues, but I was more upset that I wasn't on the couch eating Chips Ahoy and Oreos and Fritos and Doritos and all of the O's. Um, it was really what got to me because I was like, I'm doing all of this right stuff. Why is it not working? So yes, the health issues, but why am I doing why is what I'm doing not working? There we go. Um, without seeing labs. Um, Berberine and inositol could be beneficial, but I would love to see some labs to see exactly what's going on. I'd love to see a 4-point cortisol test of your cortisol 4 times throughout the day. I would love to ask like tons of questions on top of those questions to get even more symptoms that would turn into like a 30-minute health coaching call. So I'd love to connect on a health coaching call and brainstorm completely free, brainstorm and mastermind together. Let's see if we can get it figured out of what's missing, because there's a missing piece. Again, you have all of these big pieces and you're doing so much right, but what's that one missing piece where the others hinge off of, if that makes sense, because there is something missing. I'd love to see if there's like a heavy metal toxicity. I'd love to see if there's gut issues. I'd love to ask a billion questions about your digestion. I'd love to go into that even deeper. Um, and figure out exactly what's going on. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'd be surprised if I have gut issues because well, first of all, I don't feel like I have any problems. I don't have stomach aches. I don't have diarrhea or constipation. Um, I eat um, Greek yogurt and sauerkraut. If I take antibiotics, which I mean, I rarely do, maybe once every 5 years. And that's only because of something, I don't know. I'm trying to think of when the last, I can't even remember when I last took antibiotics. But if I take them, I take a probiotic. So I'm very aware of gut health and all that. So and I don't think I have leaky gut, like all the kinds of symptoms that would show up if I had a digestive problem, I don't have. So I would be surprised. Cortisol is a different story. This year has been just wild. I mean, my husband had a quadruple bypass in February, and he's a guy who walks 15,000 steps a day, chops wood in the forest. We eat super healthy. It really came as a shock. And he didn't even have a heart attack. He just had pressure in his chest. And we went to the ER. And long story short, they found out that he had four blockages and needed open heart surgery. He has since recovered really well. He's doing great. Um, and then a few months after that, one of my friends committed suicide. A few months after that, a gal I mentor attempted suicide. A couple months after that, my daughter and her husband separated. And then, like within days, I found out about the mini stroke that I had had. And my sister-in-law had a brain aneurysm, but lived. So I'm putting in a nutshell kind of all the highlights, or should I say lowlights, of this year so far. It's been a stressful year, and yet in spite of that, God has been so amazing. I mean, I have had supernatural peace through all of it. Nothing has really freaked me out, but sometimes I question, am I like unaware of the stress that's going on in me? Um, how can these things not be stressful, right? So it's possible that I have a problem with cortisol, and it would be interesting to me to do a cortisol test. So yeah, there's that. There's all that.
That that's a lot for one or two of those things all piled and compiled on top of each other. That's beyond a lot. I'm just sending out just the hugest hugs to you, and I know you're probably glad that 2024 is coming to a close and just ready.
Well, what's really funny is my verse for the year was man makes his plans and God directs his steps. I'm like, wow, Lord, you have a sense of humor. And oh, also, I wanted to tell you that I have a ministry to sexual abuse survivors. And I wrote a book last year called Heart Mending, and it has evolved into a whole ministry. And that ministry is high stress because I'm dealing with people who are in the midst of trauma all the time. And I try to not carry it, and yet at the same time, I God has given me such a passion and a heart to help these women because that's what he's done in me. That's what he's healed in me. So that kind of is always there. Even if all the other stuff hadn't happened, I still have this ministry and I speak and I interact with people and that kind of thing. So just another thing to add to the pile.
Yes, and I heard it said yes, said best yesterday, and I'm going to try and quote it. The devil likes to steal and attack where we are called and where we minister. He's not creative, but he likes to knock us down where we in order for us to not be able to go out and do our calling. If if the devil can't destroy us, he's going to distract us.
Yeah.
Let me just again send the hugest hugs and tell you the fact that um if you're not a threat, the devil's not going to bother. And I truly believe that, we have such a good God. And yes, we live in a fallen world. But yeah, I'm supporting you. Yes, I would be curious also with your mineral levels. Like we talked about, minerals are the spark plugs of life and they buffer stress. Cortisol, and I'd also like to see diet too. I'd like to make sure that you're not going too low carb because that can also cause stress on your body for a short amount of time. It's going to push norepinephrine and epinephrine, and you're like, oh, I feel great. I'm not stressed at all. This is great. This is great. But after time, it's too much stress on the female body because it's like, oh, I don't know what I'm getting carbs. They're my immediate energy source. I better store them, which can spike blood sugar as well. Um, Minerals buffer stress, selenium and chromium are huge. I would love to see that. Let's jump on a call. Just again a free like 30-minute health call. I'll give you a couple questions to answer. Let's do that and let's talk a little bit more about labs and dive into that and look and see. I'd like to know about sleep as well.
I sleep pretty well, but I do take Benadryl
Okay.
in
Okay.
order to sleep. If I don't take it, then I don't sleep very well. And I've even cut back on my caffeine because all I would drink is 1 cup of Earl Grey tea in the morning. And I was even feeling kind of jittery from that.
Mhm.
So I've cut back on that too. And I'd kind of like to get either off caffeine altogether or just maybe half calf or something like that. And and oh, and I also drink wine. I usually have a glass of red wine at night, and I know that interrupts the sleep cycle. So a couple of years ago, I did an experiment and went off alcohol altogether for a year and a half. And I didn't really notice much difference from because I'm not a heavy drinker. Um, Although at the time, I will say the reason I went off of alcohol, it was right after COVID. It was about a year after COVID started. And just the being home all the time, I was drinking like 2 to 3 glasses of wine a night. And I told myself, this is not okay. I'm starting to go down the same path as my parents. And I've always been aware of like the tendency to be an alcoholic. So I limit myself to 1 glass of wine a night, and I don't have it every night. I don't know. Maybe I slept a little bit better than it's, but I don't think it was really a significant change.
Mhm.
But just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah, that could be doing it too. When our body's in when you're waking up in the middle of the night, that there's cortisol spikes that happen all throughout the night. There's one that normally happens about 10 p.m., one that happens about 2 to 3 a.m., and then 6 a.m. ish is when that major cortisol spike comes that we want to wake up with. So we want to be in bed by the time that our cortisol level goes up, so we sleep through that, and that's going to help us stay asleep longer and we don't get that second wind so we can truly relax before that next cortisol spike comes. If your body's stuck in that chronic fight or flight, Again, God designed our bodies amazing. If I'm, out in the woods, I don't want to sleep too deeply that I sleep through a lion coming and attacking me. Like God designed our bodies great. But when our bodies are like, oh, this could be a threat, this could be a threat, this could be a threat, I'm not going to get into that deep sleep. And then I have a feeling that cortisol has a lot to do with it. And yes, the wine does spike blood sugar and can interfere with balanced blood sugar and insulin sensitivity, which could again that blood sugar. I've had issues with blood sugar as well, and I will get dizzy in my sleep. It's super, super, super weird. But if my blood sugar goes too high, it'll drop too low. I get dizzy in my sleep, and I'll wake up. I'll wake myself up because I'm dizzy. Super weird. Um, so I'm wondering if that and it sounds like what's going on. Yes, big underlying issue is stress. It's figuring out what type of stress your specific toxicities we need to eliminate. Yes, that way. And then your specific deficiencies that we need to bring up to bring your body back to a state of equilibrium. But it sounds like there's little pieces that are contributing to that overall stress that we're dealing with internal stress, so our body can't deal with that external stress. Does that make sense?
It does.
Yeah, I'm gonna shoot you my calendar link over. Let's jump on another call. And nope, that's not it. I can't talk about calendly.com/Maria Sharon. Jump on that link. Let's go ahead and get on another call. There's a couple questions that'll pop up. Let's go on a health assessment call. Let me just kind of get the big picture. Let me take some notes so I can visually just kind of see it. And then figure out where we should go from there. I want to know how long things have been going on, all of those things. So let's do that. What do you think?
Yeah, okay, that sounds good. Also, in the meantime, I can request some lab work from my doctor. I don't know if she will do it because usually it has to come from her, But in the past, I've said, "Hey, can I get an A1C done?" and they will approve it. But apart from the 4-point cortisol, what else could I ask for?
So here's the issue. Blood's a homeostatic fluid. It's going to pull from wherever it needs to in order to stay at homeostasis. So, someone with osteoporosis, it might not show up on their blood work. Blood work is essential. I can't recommend it enough, but it's only a piece of the puzzle. I don't do blood work specifically. I like to see clients' blood work, but I don't do any of that. What I run is a hair tissue mineral analysis, which is going to show us our mineral levels from roughly 2 to 3 months from our hair and what's excreting through the body. I also run a urine analysis that's going to show us what's seeping through the gut to get into the urine. And that's going to show me vitamin levels, neurotransmitter levels, as well as 75 different biomarkers of what's going on in the gut. I run a omega-3 inflammation lab. That is a blood spot card. I run a food sensitivity, also a blood spot card. Thyroid, adrenal hormones, and cortisol are best through saliva. So that's where I like to see those. Any blood work that you have, again, super beneficial, but most doctors, unless they're in the holistic space, aren't going to cover any of the functional medicine labs. And insurance won't cover it. Conventional doctors aren't able to run them because insurance isn't able to cover them and they can't bill them. It's a broken system and it drives me nuts. I wish they would. From your doctor, what I normally ask to run is a full panel, and I normally just tell my doctor low energy. I tell my doctor, and again, in the nursing background, I'm sure you probably know more about this than I do. Low energy, I can't sleep, my immune system's off, and anything that they'll run along with that. Also, cold hands and feet. Sometimes they'll be able to bill for a little bit of thyroid. They aren't able to see. They'll be able to see some cortisol, but not 4 points throughout the day because I want to see those cortisol spikes. They're normally not able to run that, but they can get an overall cortisol picture. So some of those might be beneficial.
Okay. So thyroid, well, you said the comprehensive. a metabolic panel. I think I just had that done. I'll have to look in my lab work and see if I just had like last month.
Oh,
I
perfect. Good.
I think I had that done. And then the thyroid and what was the other one?
Um, I would look for uh what did I say? I mentioned symptoms and then let them just kind of run all that they can with that. Complete metabolic panel, thyroid, adrenal hormones, anything in there, and then trying to think of what else. Again, I just go by symptoms. Tell them cold hands and cold feet. That'll help them cue, and your symptoms will match up to thyroid stuff. And mention immune system. And mention like joint pain or anything like that. If you've got any of that going on, they might be able to run some inflammation stuff with that.
Yeah, I don't have any joint pain. Interestingly, since I cut back on bread and pasta and the occasional sugar, like I used to eat 3 chocolate almonds after lunch every day, which is hardly anything, but I stopped that. And like on Thanksgiving, I didn't have the pie and ice cream. And yeah, I did have some joint pain before I started doing this last month, but it has since subsided, which
Good.
is interesting because that tells me that the inflammation has been decreased.
Yes, absolutely. And yes, it's gluten, and dairy and all of that, but it's all of the added stuff with the gluten and dairy. So yes,
Yeah.
gluten is number one food sensitivity. Dairy, they're all tied. Gluten, dairy, and egg whites are our top three food sensitivities. So decreasing those, yes. Once we rebalance the gut, like I have gluten, dairy, and egg white sensitivities. Once rebalance my gut, I'm able to have it on occasion, and I don't have the brain fog, the headaches, the joint pain, anything like that, because my gut's able to properly break it down. But also I got completely distracted on you. Also it's the glyphosate and the pesticides and all of that on
Yeah.
top of already inflammatory food. So that, yes, awesome, awesome, awesome there that you're avoiding that. I'm so glad to hear that.
Well, we buy white, what's it called again? White winter wheat from Montana that's organic, and we mill our own wheat and make our own bread.
Oh,
But
wow.
I've stopped eating it. I don't even really like it that much. My weakness is sourdough bread, which is, it's good for you, but it's also made with white flour that's probably full of glyphosate. So unless I made it myself, I probably wouldn't go back to that. But yeah, I will look at that link you sent me and sign up for something. All those tests that you mentioned sound really expensive. That's a concern.
So we are able just to kind of like we can start off with one and just kind of look there and go from there and take it piece by piece. We're able to do it that way. Um, and again, I'm able to coach without any labs at all, and we can go completely by symptoms. It's more difficult to go completely by symptoms because I'm like, oh, it could be a heavy metal toxicity. Oh, it could be parasites. Well, it could be a gut issue. It could be mold. Um, and then I'm not able to see like specific deficiencies as far as minerals and vitamins and all of that, but it can be done. So, yeah, let's jump on a call. Let's figure out from there and let's get you feeling even better.
Sounds good.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me, Nancy. I'm gonna pop off and get to my next appointment, and my little guy who is hopefully still napping, now that we got
Oh,
straightened up, but
that's awesome. Okay, thank you so much.
so welcome. We'll see you tomorrow.
Okay,
And I'll talk to you soon. Have a good one.
okay. You too. Bye-bye.